Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. Memes are brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us. About half the work week in the rear view mirror. Got some senioritis vibes for me here as I'm ready to get on a jet plane tomorrow and head up to Omaha. LSU did that just about an hour and a half ago. Tigers en route to the nation's heartland up there in the Midwest, and we got a lot to talk about over the next 2 hours. Brian Kelly was actually on a podcast yesterday, so we'll chat a little bit about that. It is What If Wednesday. Got some good ones on Twitter. Saints out there at mandatory minicamp. I want to talk running backs in the second hour of the show today, and I got a preview of UCLA and Murray State on LouisianaSports.net, new and improved LouisianaSports.net as of this morning. And I want to talk a little bit about those two teams. We'll get heavy into LSU and Arkansas on my show on Friday and then on the pregame show again on Saturday. But I want to spend a little bit of time on UCLA and Murray State because LSU's going to play one of them on Monday and potentially a little bit more as the week progresses if LSU continues to advance in the College World Series. So lots and lots and lots to do. Fired up, you are here with us. Let's crank it up the same way we do every single day, our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
I think it's fair to suggest that most collegiate athletic teams have pretty good team chemistry. You're talking about young people who chose to be where they are and they weren't drafted there. There aren't a lot of contract disputes, despite what we see here at the top level of collegiate athletics. Most teams aren't really concerned with NIL. If you look at the Boston University soccer team, or you look at the lacrosse team at Notre Dame, or the swimming and diving club out at Stanford, like, you're not talking about folks that are ticked off because of playing time or lack of NIL funds. Most college athletes are having the times in their lives. I get that. But there are times where teams get sideways. If you're just talking about here in Baton Rouge, like the 2020 LSU football team in the midst of COVID and all that kind of stuff kind of broke down. 2 years ago, we saw publicly on social media when the defensive staff was let go, specifically the defensive coordinator, there were some players that were pretty vocal about that. And I would suggest that last year, LSU wasn't a disaster in terms of team chemistry by baseball stretch, by any stretch. They were not a disaster. But there were some dissenting opinions with LSU baseball last year. And it was important to Jay Johnson to clean some of that up. And you've heard him in post-game press conferences talk about character and talk about the group that they have. And it's really, really, really important. Now, this team's won a lot. And winning, generally speaking, puts people in a really good mood. But I want to bring you back to 2 years ago and to that national championship team. And I want to retell you some stories that you certainly remember, but it's important in driving home a point that I'm going to bring up with yesterday's LSU media session. LSU had a group of players on that team that fought through significant adversity when it comes to on-field performance and playing time. Not everybody's Paul Skeens. Not everybody's Dylan Cruz. Not everybody's Tommy White or Trey Morgan. Those guys played great the whole year. And they're stars. That's what they do. But there were other guys on that team, like Riley Cooper, who was a weekend starter on opening weekend, was a weekend starter when they went to Round Rock in week 3 and lost that job and then wasn't pitching well out of the bullpen. He got demoted pretty significantly. Was there anybody else besides Skeens you wanted on the mound besides that guy in Omaha? He was nails. Battled through it. Thatcher Hurd, brought in to kind of be a weekend starter. Got a chance to be a weekend starter. Didn't go great. Demoted. Went to the bullpen. Didn't get a lot of outs. It wasn't awesome. They called on him in extra innings against the number one team in the nation, Wake Forest, and he threw up zeros. They called on him in the national final to start game 3. He was a star. Gavin Dugas did not start on opening day. Didn't start on opening day. Then LSU put Trey Morgan out in the outfield. Dugas had to come into the infield. But he was a guy that led the SEC in RBI 2 years prior, got hurt, had eye issues, couldn't see. He wasn't going to play. He couldn't practice in the fall. And Jay Johnson hadn't seen enough of him in a year and a half on campus to be like, yeah, that's going to be a dude. Well, he ended up being a dude. Cade Beloso came back to be a cheerleader on that team. Tore his ACL in a celebration, was going to go start his life, get a job, get married. Jay Johnson said, hey, why don't you come play? Come play one. And he didn't even think he was going to play. I've talked to Cade about this. He thought he was just going to be a pinch hitter in mop-up duty and a hype guy. Maybe the second biggest home run of the year. It was the second biggest home run of the year. Extra innings against Florida to win the game. Right behind Tommy White's walk-off against Wake. Alex Milazzo. They recruited 3 freshmen to come in and take his job. Brady Neal, Jared Jones, Ethan Fry, all high school catchers. Hayden Travinsky still on the team. He didn't care. Just played when they asked him to. And they got to Omaha, and he was awesome. Unfortunately, broke his leg, but I think he remembers that pretty fondly now. Good story. Probably hurt in the moment, but good story. These are the stories of a championship team and the guts of it that made the team whole. And I heard some things yesterday that made me think about that. And they came from the 2 guys who might have the biggest beef with their role on this team, if you just look at talent and playing time. The first guy is Jake Brown. Jake Brown doesn't start when LSU faces a left-handed pitcher. He hasn't for 2 months. Josh Pearson starts. Josh Pearson's professional baseball future is limited. Jake Brown's is not. But Josh Pearson starts against left-handed pitching. And Jake Brown could pout about that. Instead, Jake Brown said this in the media session yesterday about Josh Pearson and his last at-bat on Monday.
Well, I'm glad that he hit for me. I think if he didn't get put in that spot, I would have walked up to Coach Johnson. I was like, hey, he has to hit. Hey, it's his last game at the box. And seeing the fans, seeing him get that standing ovation, something really special. I don't know if I've ever seen someone have a 3-pitch strikeout and then get cheered for. But happy for him. I mean, that's a testament. That dude bleeds purple and gold. He's been here for 4 years. He's a true leader, a true teammate, and one of the best guys that I know.
That's the guy who's taking his playing time. And that's what Jake has to say. And I know that most of you haven't spent a lot of time around Jake. I haven't spent a lot of time around Jake, but he does come to interviews a good bit because he's a great interview and he's had some huge moments. And the guy's authentic, and the guy truly means that. That meant a lot to him to see Josh Pearson get in there and hit. And for Josh Pearson to take at-bats from Jake Brown and Jake Brown say he wanted him to get that last at-bat, that says a lot to me about what he means to this team and how Jake Brown views his own role on this team. Now, the other guy who started the year as a weekend starter in his draft year, a lot on the line for Chase Shores. And the decision was made 6 weeks ago that, hey, you're out of the rotation. Need you out of the bullpen. And look, starters are more valuable in the draft than relievers. They just are. And now Chase Shores profiles right now as a reliever. And this is what Chase Shores had to say about his role now that LSU is going to the College World Series.
I mean, we're in Omaha. I'll go till my arm falls off, honestly. So, it really doesn't – I don't have a pitch count or anything. So, whatever Coach Johnson needs me to do, I'm going to go out there and get the job done.
That means a lot. Being a reliever as opposed to an SEC starter theoretically could, hypothetically, cost Chase Shores $800,000. It might not, but it could. And Chase Shores just wants to go to Omaha and do something he couldn't do 2 years ago when he was in the dugout with his arm in a sling and go out there and help the team in the College World Series. And again, I don't expect Jake Brown and Chase Shores to come up in front of the media and take a question and go, well, the coach is a moron, and I'm way better than these 2 dudes, and they ought to let me play, and it's probably going to cost us our season, but whatever, it's his call. I'm out of here next fall anyway. Like they could theoretically say it, but they're not. So I understand that part. But I do get the sense in watching this team from afar, in talking to them twice a week, in speaking with Jay Johnson in press conferences, in watching them in the dugout, and all, it feels like this team is one. It feels like this team is together. And that's an important thing. I would stand to guess that the other 7 teams feel very, very similarly. But this is the one I cover. And these are the quotes I got from yesterday. And these are the stories I know. And when I've been told that last year there were some dissension in there, and then you see what the result is this year, and you kind of wonder why last year was clunky for a good bit, and you see that they haven't had those sustained issues this year, it just makes you sit there and go, oh, okay. But that team got on the plane to go to Omaha this morning in a really good mental place. Now, if Cade Anderson gives up 5 runs in the second inning and LSU gets no hit through 6 innings by Zach Root, we have a different discussion about their mental headspace currently. But right now, as they get on that plane and go, they're about as talented as anybody that's going up there, and they feel like they're as together as anybody that's going up there, and that is all you can ask for this time of year. There are a lot of teams that would trade places with where LSU is right now, and I feel like this team's in a good spot mentally. And I liked what I heard from them, and it brought me back to the stories that I know about for that 2023 team. Let's hope the result is the same over the next 14 days. That's our start at looking at LSU baseball. It's our Genesis opening drive. Let's talk some LSU football. Brian Kelly joined the podcast yesterday and had a lot to say. We'll get to some of it when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, captives are the future of insurance, if you ask me. But I'd rather you just ask the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carvo and his team are really experienced when it comes to captives. And if you're a sizable business that struggles annually with the increase in premiums for your insurance program, you're thinking, where's there a solution? It could be a captive. If you don't know about captives, if your broker hasn't approached you about captives, the Highland Insurance Group handles them every single day. They've had a ton of success placing clients in captives, and it can be a major difference to your bottom line when it comes to expenses. Insurance is expensive. We get it. But there may be a better way to handle it. And the Highland Insurance Group can do that with their captive programs that they have access to as an independent broker. If you'd like to learn more about it, contact them at HighlandIG.com. Call Jonathan up and say, hey, heard about these captives on Hunt's show. Can we meet and talk about it? He would love to do that with you. Whether you're an owner, CFO, risk manager, whatever the case may be, he's happy to have that conversation with you. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online at HighlandIG.com. It's HighlandIG.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotion.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Major shout out to Renaissance Homes and Pools. They bring you our Wednesday shows each and every week. Shout out to Joey Blanchard and the whole crew there. If you're looking to get into the pool of your dreams and you're thinking, I think it is the time, well, contact Joey Blanchard and the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can go to the website builtbyrenaissance.com. The software that Joey has is incredible, and the ability to customize and to accurately depict to scale what that pool would look like in the design phase is just an incredible process. If you'd like to work with the owner of the company, not just somebody who's handling things for a national group somewhere in Atlanta, the owner of the company right here in Baton Rouge, who will be there start to finish, from the design to the digging to the finish, the whole way. Joey Blanchard will be there with you. Contact the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools, builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, Brian Kelly was on the Game Day podcast with Reese Davis and the crew as we get into the summer months. I had a lengthy conversation with them, and there were a number of topics I'd like to broach over the course of this segment. But it does start with linebackers. I think there were some interesting things that Kelly had to say about his linebackers, and we'll get to Harold Perkins. But he first updated Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins. I think you know this by now, but those two guys are ready to rock.
We're in our, running program right now, and, our PLPs, which are our player-led position work and practices, they're in everything. So it's been a great recovery. They've worked really hard. I think our training staff has done an amazing job of getting both these guys to the point where they're already taking place in June activities and football-related activities. So both of them will be ready. Both of them are excited. They come into a year where they know a lot of the success will fall around them.
I don't think that's overstating it. Like, Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins have to be great players for LSU to be great this year. And Whit Weeks was second in the SEC in tackles last year. He's seventh most in the history of LSU in a single season. And Perkins has the ability to be a game changer. And one of the things that he's going to do is do some coverage work. And he's also going to rush the passer. He's also going to play the run, but they're going to have to make him versatile. And Kelly talked about the development that Perkins has undergone in using his athleticism in pass coverage.
I think that's why we moved him, Reese. We feel like he's shown the tools necessary to be in space. And look, he's not going to play man-to-man bump and run. He's going to be a trail player playing underneath with a safety over the top. He's going to be a spot dropper. And then we'll give him, the back coming out of the backfield, things that we know that fit his skill set. If you start doing things that, he's got to play man on the slot and they run an up route, you're not going to cover him.
And that's completely fair. Perkins has good PFF grades when it comes to his coverage. And again, that's not locking down slot receivers running double moves. That's making sure you're in the right spot when the running back leaks out into flat and running the trail, like he said, on those drag routes and using his speed and athleticism in space. He runs well enough to run with some skill position guys. I don't need him out there locked up with Alabama's number one, but he runs well enough in space to do a little bit of coverage. And I think there are probably a lot of LSU fans that'll roll their eyes at all that and say, no, get this guy on the line of scrimmage and rush up the field. And by now you know that that's not necessarily realistic on every single down and distance. But the staff is self-aware that last year and even the year prior, it wasn't perfect in terms of his utilization, and Brian Kelly spoke to that on the Game Day podcast.
Where we are with him is much more about settling him in and letting him play. Just go. Get your cleats in the ground. Keep it simple and go play. It got too complicated. We were trying to do too many things. We got too smart for ourselves. We got a really good player here. Let him go play. Let him feel comfortable every week and rip it, and I think that that's going to help him quite a bit.
Isn't that exactly what you want to hear? Like, we did too much. We're going to do less. He's going to be fine. And I think there's reason to believe that. Harold Perkins is ridiculously talented. And I think he's going to have a great year this year in what will be his final year in Baton Rouge. But it's got to start great quickly because LSU opens at Clemson. We know this. Game Day made the decision yesterday that they're going to go to Columbus, which we all knew was going to happen. They'll be there for Ohio State and Texas. Corso will have his last headgear pick where he had his first headgear pick, but pretty big one there in South Carolina with LSU and Clemson, and Brian Kelly talked about it.
Clemson will be a great challenge, but one that I think more than anything else, we have a football team that can go on the road. And that's what you have to do. You have to have a defense that travels. And we finally have got the roster in a position where I believe these are the kind of games that you want to go and play, and you need to win them. And I'm not going to make any other statements other than the fact that we need to win the opener because we're 0-3. And not that this will be a deciding factor of whether you get in the players or not. It is a long haul, but we need it, as a program. And for, as you mentioned, Pete, the fan support and people to be rallying around this team, which I believe is going to be an outstanding team.
I mean, that's about as blunt as you can be. We need to win the opener. It doesn't prohibit us from making the playoffs, but we need to win the opener. And y'all know how I feel about this. Like, I'm scheduling Samford in the opener. I'm bringing Nichols up from the Bayou for the opener. Like that, if that's allowed, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to Clemson for the opener, but I'm not calling the shots there at LSU. And Brian Kelly said, look, we're not gonna hide from it.
We've circled the game. I've never done that before in openers. It's all over our weight room. It's all over our workouts. We're wearing shirts. I mean, we're doing the kumbaya of we're playing Clemson and we need to beat Clemson. So is that too much pressure? No, I think we've got enough mature veteran guys on this team. We had a clear conversation about why we were doing it, and they're all in on that.
I think that's fine too. I've never been one that, that thinks that you can trick college players into thinking that every game is the same. Now, look, I've won all of 0 college football games, and Nick Saban's won a bajillion of them. And he would tell you that I'm an idiot for suggesting that one game was more important than another game. You've got to be the same every time. And Jay Johnson says every game's a playoff. It's a 56-game playoff. I don't necessarily buy that one completely either. I don't think you can possibly treat a March game against Northwestern State on Tuesday in front of 300 people like you would a super regional game. I think that's an ambitious way to go about things. I don't think that the thought process behind it is flawed. I just think it's unrealistic to go ahead and follow through on that. But Brian Kelly's saying we're not doing that. We're not saying that every game's the same. We're saying we got to go beat Clemson. And whether you do that or not, I think you're going to be fine in week 2 against Louisiana Tech. So I'm fine with gearing the guys up. Brandon Taylor talks about this all the time. When they were getting ready for that 2011 season opener against Oregon, he felt like it transformed their offseason workout process. Oregon was coming off a national runner-up. They had, Heisman Trophy hopefuls, and they were a big brand, and LSU felt like they needed to raise their level all summer to get ready for that one game. Maybe that happens with this group. We'll see. But the deal is that LSU is going to have to be prepared to play in the game. You can wear the T-shirts and go through your workouts, but you've got to be ready to come out and play your best game in the first game. And if you watched LSU against USC, if you watched LSU against Florida State, you know that the team was a lot better 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later than it was on Labor Day weekend. And Brian Kelly was asked, like, how do you make sure they're ready at the beginning of September?
Look, I've been in enough of these games. You go on the road, you better bring a defense. And I think this is the first year where I believe defensively, we have the pieces in place to go into a very difficult place to play and come out victorious.
He believes in the defense. I'm hopeful on the defense. They've certainly got a lot of new faces. They've certainly got some continuity on the coaching staff outside of defensive line. I'm hopeful that the defense is really good. What I feel good about it being good is LSU's offense, specifically at quarterback with Garrett Nussmeier. And obviously, entering the season, you're going to see the top of the SEC quarterback list that are going to have Garrett Nussmeier. They're going to have Lenora Sellers. They're going to have DJ Lagway. But they're also going to have Arch Manning. And I think those are the two guys that are garnering the most attention as you enter talking season here in the summer. And Brian Kelly spoke to the Nuss Verch Arch chatter.
There's another guy that hears it all the time too, and that's Garrett Nussmeier. He's more than anything else experienced. And in this league, you need to see the bullets flying. And your first venture into it, ask Jaden Daniels when he threw for 67 yards against Auburn. And so all I'm saying is Nussmeier's seen it. He knows what he's going to get. There's a confidence that he'll bring to each and every game that through experience, maybe even through some scar tissue, that's going to allow him to be, I believe, the best quarterback. Now, Manning is extremely talented, but he's got to go do it. And there's going to be a couple of days where it doesn't come out the way it's supposed to. How do you come back from that? So I could see the assessment of Manning. He's an outstanding player, but I'll take the guy that's been in the SEC and seen what it looks like.
The question's not whether or not Garrett Nussmeier can make plays. He can make plenty of plays. The question is, what about the bad plays and the risk-taking and the issues with the 3 interceptions against Texas A&M and turning the ball over 3 times against Alabama? And how does that get cleaned up in year 2? And Brian Kelly spoke to it.
It requires more than anything else, and I'll say this again, you got to go through those tough times to come out on the other end of it. You know, we lost 3 games in a row, and look, he did not play very well. We turned the football over. We were up at half by 2 scores against A&M, and that game flipped because we made some poor decisions. And so I think you got to live through it. He played extremely well the last 3 games, and you could see that experience, and it carried itself into, our offseason in terms of understanding when to tuck it and run. He would not run when he needed to run, quite frankly, in certain situations. And I think you just got to go through that and experience it. And I think he has, and that's why I'm confident that from what I've seen in the spring, he knows what he needs to do this year.
Now, Garrett had a security blanket last year with that offensive line in terms of pass protection. Now, I'd wish they would run the ball a little bit better, but in terms of pass protection, that's about as good as you can ask an offensive line to play over the course of an entire season. And 4/5 of those guys are gone. So the question is, what's next for the offensive line? And I thought Brian Kelly gave a great answer on where this offensive line stands.
I think the last piece of this is just continuously developing your offensive linemen. And there's turnover every year. Look, I mean, everybody loses offensive linemen. It's your ability to have a system in place that develops them, and then when it's their turn, they're ready to play at a high level. And I think we're pretty good at it, and I think we're going to be okay on the offensive line.
Let's hope so. If they are, LSU's offense is going to score a bajillion points because they got skill guys and a good quarterback. They need to block. And if they do, LSU is going to be in really, really good shape, and they certainly need to block when they go to Clemson in that opener. So that's a look at Brian Kelly's chat on the College Game Day podcast with Reese Davis and the crew there from ESPN. If you're looking for our LSU content, you can find it at Hunt on LSU. Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, and, of course, on YouTube as well. Still in some football. I'm going to be heavy on baseball when we get up there and start on Friday's show, but we're still going to talk to Preston on Friday, and we're still going to talk some football. I won't be talking any football on Saturday's show. Saturday's show from 2 to 4 at the Ameristar pregame before LSU and Arkansas. Very much looking forward to getting up there and getting everything started up there in Omaha. So let's come back and do some What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, plenty to do here on this Wednesday. If you're wondering, well, what about Koki in the first hour? Koki's on a flight up to Omaha. I'm going to chat with him potentially on Saturday before LSU and Arkansas get things rolling up there from Charles Schwab Field. Speaking of the College World Series, UCLA and Murray State in LSU's bracket here in Omaha, and we'll talk about them at the top of hour number 2. I've got breakdowns of both schools, pretty in-depth breakdowns of both teams on LouisianaSports.net. If you'd rather do it a print version, you can do that right there on LouisianaSports.net for free, but I'll get to those at 2 o'clock. And the Saints are out there on the practice field again today. I want to talk running backs because I think there's a little bit of news there in terms of guy they're bringing in and what things look like behind Alvin Kamara. So we'll do all that in the second hour. But right now, it's time for What If Wednesday.
Space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
Alrighty, first one here. What if you had one meal in Omaha?
If we're one meal is going to be 801 Chop House. Went there with the Pops as Florida was hitting their 432nd home run in that game on Sunday in the final. We bounced out of there in the 7th, and we're like, I've seen enough. Let's get a steak.
I think they just hit another one, actually.
Yeah, Wyatt Langford. There's another one. Caglione bomb, BT Riopelle home run. One meal is going to be 801 Chop House. That's not something you're going to do every day because that's a little bit on the pricier side. If you're going to be up there for a little while and you want to have one really nice meal, I would highly suggest 801 Chop House. There are plenty of great places that I've eaten that are great lunch spots or that are not fine dining. But if you're telling me one, I'm going to go get a big old piece of steak. Their prime rib is very, very good too. Desserts, very, very sizable desserts at 801 Chop House. So I don't know if I'll be going this time around, but it's very good.
All right, next one here. What if you could move the College World Series back to Rosenblatt Stadium?
This is an interesting one. Here's my perspective on it. I did the College World Series at Rosenblatt once in 2009. I have done it twice at what was then TD Ameritrade, is now Charles Schwab. this is going to be the minority take. I like it where it is. Now, it's completely different. Rosenblatt was a carnival. It was a party. It was in a neighborhood. It was hard to park. There was a lot of character and a lot of history, and the vibes were incredible. But I prioritize the bars and restaurants that are around Charles Schwab, the amenities in the stadium, and I think that the park now plays pretty fair. When LSU went there in 2013, it was a joke. The bats were screwed up, the balls were no good, the fence was too deep, and that wasn't representative of actual baseball. LSU didn't have any problem hitting the ball out of the ballpark in 2023. Now, there were games where you would have some trouble on that, like when they played Tennessee and Ackenhausen pitched, like the wind shifted. But, like, the wind shifted in 98, and it was hard to hit home runs up on the bluff at Omaha. Like, to me, and look, if they moved it back to Rosenblatt, I wouldn't complain about it. It's a great vibe. It was a unique thing. But I like the fact that there are bars and restaurants all around it now. They've got Fan Fest and all that kind of stuff, and there are hotels that are walking distance, and like I like the new amenities of Charles Schwab, but I understand that's going to be the minority because there are so many incredible memories of LSU fans at Rosenblatt, and I don't. This is not a slam dunk for me. I don't think Rosenblatt sucked. Why do you like that? I don't think that at all. But I like Charles Schwab, and I would leave it there. I like the new park.
All right, next one. What if Josh Jordan leaves for Duke?
I think that's going to happen, and that'll be great for Josh. He's a perfect fit for that job. If you don't know who Josh Jordan is, Josh Jordan's LSU's recruiting coordinator. He coaches third base. He spent 10 years at Duke with Chris Pollard, who just left Duke for Virginia, and was the National Assistant of the Year there, helped get Duke to their first NCAA tournament in 50 years, and helped them get to their first 2 super regionals as a program. And LSU hired him away in 2022. And he's done a great job, but I think he's ready. And that's not new to Jay Johnson. His first staff had Jason Kelly and Dan Fitzgerald on it. Kelly took the head job at Washington. Fitzgerald went to Kansas. Kansas has been much better since Fitzgerald went there. Of course, he hired Wes Johnson. Wes moved on to Georgia. Nickel State's head coach comes from LSU staff as well. So he's had guys move. That's what's going to happen at LSU. You're going to have guys come in, and they're going to get bigger jobs, or they're going to get let go if they don't do what they're supposed to do. So I think if the vibes are the same as the last time LSU lost an assistant coach, that's good, because Wes Johnson left after a national championship, and this would be Josh Jordan's chance to win one and move on to Duke. But LSU, Jay Johnson is connected. He's got a very, very desirable place to come coach and build your resume. The guys that have left to go on and do great things are proof of that. So I would hate to lose Josh, but I think it would be just fine, and it'd be great for him.
Yeah, I mean, we see this with pretty much every college sport, almost any sport, and even professional.
Alabama, losing coordinators by the truckload.
When you're one of the best in the top teams in your sport, you're going to lose assistants because other teams say, hey, those guys are really good. That guy's got to be pretty good too, so we're going to hire him. So, I think it's going to be good for Josh.
I'll say this. Duke's entire team's in the portal, so
that's going to be tough.
He's got a battle on his hands if he shows up, because most of Virginia's players now play for Mississippi State, and most of Duke's players are going to go play for Virginia. So it's going to be bare bones when he gets there, if he gets there.
All right, next one here. What if Ethan Fry comes back for his senior season?
That'd be awesome. He'll have an option. That's going to be one of those close ones. It's kind of like Jared Jones last year. Fry has proven he's really offensive, and he is a really good athlete. I think he's a poor defender, but that doesn't really matter that much because he's a corner outfielder. Maybe a first baseman, probably very likely a corner outfielder. And you're a corner outfielder, you go out there and go play corner outfield. So I would love to see him come back and be an anchor in the middle of the lineup, but he's an anchor in the middle of the lineup right now. So if he comes back, that'll be great. He'll have a chance to be an All-American, All-League player. He will, though, lose his leverage. So we'll see what his decision is, but I'm hopeful that Ethan Fry comes back and is in the middle of the lineup next year. That'd be great.
Next one here. What if Murray State wins it all?
Well, that's not good, because they'd have beaten they'd won LSU's bracket and won the whole thing. This is one of the few sports that allows for that. I'm going to talk about Murray State in 20 minutes here. What they do very, very well, which they're doing great, and what they do very, very poorly, which they do. But this sport allows for Fresno State to win it. You see Cinderellas in the NCAA basketball tournament, but they generally are out of there in the round of 32 or certainly in the Sweet 16. If they really Cinderella it, they might get to the Final Four, and Butler just about did it, but nobody's truly climbed that mountain.
George Mason did it at LSU.
Yeah, to the Final Four, but no one's climbed all the way to the top like Fresno State did, and really like Coastal Carolina kind of was in 2016. So it would be an incredible story for Murray State. I'm just not interested in that story because I've got some vested interest that would go the other way. So let's hope not, but it's one of the few sports where that can actually happen.
All right, we've got some in the chat here. What if an MLB team comes calling for Jay Johnson? Do you think he would take a pro job?
I don't.
You don't really see this in college baseball, I feel, very often.
No, you don't. It's just a different world, different game, and there are so many coaches in professional baseball, whether they're bench coaches, pitching coaches, bullpen coaches, AAA managers. Those are the guys that generally move up and get those ladders that have been in pro baseball. Yeah. So, and now they're hiring young coaches just off the field very often. The Gabe Kaplers of the world, the Rocco Baldellis of the world, David Ross was right off the field. Joe Girardi was right off the field. So Jay Johnson was meant to be a college baseball coach. He's an elite recruiter. He's a great leader of young people. He understands the college game and wants to be involved in all. But I don't know that he would tell you he loves every aspect of the new era of collegiate athletics. But like, this is all he's really wanted to do. So while you did see Wes Johnson leave from college to go take a pro pitching coach job, that's a little bit different, kind of running the show as opposed to running a position group. I just don't think that that's something that Jay Johnson's interested in. It would stun me flat-footed if he ever left LSU for anything else. I would be stunned.
All right, last one here. What if Hunt could play Oakmont in its U.S. Open setup this week? Would he need a weed whacker to get out of the rough?
I just need a spotter. Just need to show me where the ball is.
See,
I'll get it out.
I want to ask you, I think I know what your take is going to be on this, but I and a lot of other people that I know, amateur golfers, are of the opinion that if you hit a ball into the rough or somewhere, that is fine. It's not out of bounds. It's not red stake, whatever, and you can't find it, then I think it's okay to drop it in that area and not take a penalty stroke. Because if you were playing in a tournament like these pros do, someone would find it within the allotted time.
I think you would be in the majority there. And it just depends on what you're out there for.
Yeah.
So, like, me personally, like, I play for $1 a hole, whatever. Like, I could not care less about the bet when I'm out there. I've got a buddy, the only thing he cares about is the bet. He'd rather shoot 91 and win the bet than 82 and lose the bet. I'm only out there for my personal score against myself. So if I can't find my golf ball, like, I can't in good conscience just drop one, hit it, and feel like I've accomplished the score that I signed for at the end. But that doesn't mean that if a recreational golfer is just out there to enjoy himself and that's frustrating you can't find it, then yeah, drop one. Like, I don't care. And I certainly don't care if I'm in the bet because, like, I don't care about the bet. I just care about my score. And I have a goal every time I tee it up, and that's the only reason I'm out there. So if I compromise the rules to get there, I don't feel like I've done myself a service.
Yeah, I don't know. To me...
And to be fair, like, I'm still taking gimmies if they give it to me, like, within reason.
Yeah.
But that's one where that, to me, is different than not hitting a 16-inch putt. That's like, I can't find the ball.
No, right, but it's just so annoying because it's like, like, if you were playing and there were people out there, they would find the ball, and it's just frustrating when that happens.
That is a reasonable take. There's some stuff that I'm rigid on. Like, if you hit the ball out of bounds, some people just want to go drop up there. Like, that's completely incorrect. And, like, I won't stand for that. Your instance, I don't have a huge problem with that.
All right, last one here. What if you could reseed the teams in the College World Series?
Okay, I'll hear the discussion, and they certainly do in the NFL based on who's the highest, you play the lowest, all that kind of stuff. This is a bracket. It's a bracket like the Wimbledon bracket. It's a bracket like the World Golf Championships bracket. It's a bracket like the NCAA tournament in basketball. And sometimes you get a great draw, and sometimes your draw stinks. And LSU got a great draw the first 2 weekends, and their draw on Saturday stinks. And I'm perfectly willing to admit that, but, like, it is what it is. Arkansas's draw wasn't great to get here, and they beat Tennessee. Now their draw's not great when they get there, and they'll just try to have to beat LSU. But I don't need to reseed it. The bracket's the bracket. It is what it is. So that's What If Wednesday here on this Wednesday. We will step aside, close that hour number one, coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. I just would ask that you go stop by Genesis of Baton Rouge. You're going to be blown away at the facility. It's first class. It's brand new. The ambiance is incredible. It feels like you're walking into a 5-star hotel. Got great staff that's going to welcome you and treat you like a guest. And they've got an incredible line of vehicles that you won't be pressured into driving or buying or taking advantage of when it comes to pricing. They're going to treat you respectfully, and that's part of the experience. I know that many of you have had bad experiences on different car lots. That's never going to happen at Genesis Baton Rouge. So if you're in the car buying mode or that's around the corner for you, just put them on your list. It's a luxury experience at a reasonable price. What more could you ask for than that? Get behind the wheel, whether you're at Genesis Baton Rouge Airline at Pico across from Women's Hospital, or you're online at GenesisBatonRouge.com and they come to you. Either way, you're going to be blown away by the customer service and the line of vehicles. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check them out, Airline at Pico, or online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Shout out to the folks there at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Built by Renaissance.com. Built by Renaissance.com. Looking to get in the pool of your dreams. Looking to just completely transform your backyard setup from the pool to the outdoor kitchen. All of that can be done with Joey Blanchard and the team at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check them out online at builtbyrenaissance.com. As you're now well aware, I'll be out of here tomorrow. Anthony Renato will host a show. Ton of great baseball content from Anthony. Tomorrow he'll have a lot of great guests and can certainly tell stories about his time in Omaha. He was there in 2008, was there in 2009, was a huge factor in 2009, not as big a deal in 2008, but he did pitch the Super Regional at the end to get LSU to Omaha in 2008. So excited to have Anthony hosting the show tomorrow. I will be in Omaha early in the afternoon, get everything set up and ready to roll, and then I'll be on for my show, normal time, 1 to 3 on Friday from the Ameristar in Council Bluffs. If you are going to be in Omaha and want to stop by, come see us. They've got a huge sports book that it's going to be a ton of fun. We'll be watching the College World Series on Friday. I've got a pregame show from 2 to 4 on Saturday, so you're looking for something to do leading up to the LSU game. Come see me at the Ameristar over in Council Bluffs. You're going Council Bluffs, Iowa. How far is that away from the stadium? It's very close. It's right over the bridge. It's less than 5 miles from the stadium to Council Bluffs. I stayed pretty close to the Ameristar in 2023, and the Ubers from our hotel to the stadium were always like $11. So it's close there in Council Bluffs. So we'll be there. Come see us. I'm there Friday and Saturday, and then Monday I will do my show from there if they play at night, and then we'll be there as long as we can. If LSU gets into the losers bracket and plays a couple of 1 o'clock games next week, I'll be at the stadium covering the games for LouisianaSports.net. Probably Taylor will sit in and handle things while LSU is playing from 1 to 3. Probably a lot of football talk in those hours, but we're hoping that LSU can stay in that winners bracket, stay in those 6 o'clock time spots, and it'll be awesome that we'll be up there bringing you our coverage until LSU comes home, either with a trophy or not. So very much looking forward to travels tomorrow and to the stay in Omaha as long as we can be there. It appears that the Knicks just have no idea what they're doing. Shams just tweeted out that the Knicks requested to talk to Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks basically said, y'all can go fly a big old kite. No, you can't talk to Jason Kidd. So this idea that they fired Tom Thibodeau and then had a guy lined up that, boom, that's the next guy, clearly, based on these reports and the time frame that is elapsing currently, is not true. That the Knicks just had the best season they've had in a quarter century and decided, yeah, this guy's not good enough. We'll find somebody else. Anybody else, we'll figure it out, fly by the seat of our pants. And that's why the Knicks have been terrible for 25 years, because you've got a front office in place, an administrative group in place, an ownership group in place that doesn't do things the way that you should do them in a championship manner. And I'm not here to tell you, to break down why or why not the Knicks offense worked or didn't work, why the Knicks defense worked or didn't work, but I can tell you that Tom Thibodeau's resume and the amount of games he wins versus the amount of games he loses, no matter where he goes in the NBA, suggests he's a damn good coach. And the fact that he took the Knicks and took them as far as they've gone in 25 years to the conference final on the doorstep of the NBA Finals suggests he's a good coach. And the odds that you find someone significantly better than him just shopping around and asking other teams, hey, can we talk to your guy, is probably not very good. And again, that's just a complete indictment on the Knicks' entire administrative group that they've let it get to this, and you now look like a public embarrassment. They may get a guy that takes them to win the NBA Finals next year, but the odds are you're going to downgrade at coach because you just felt like making a change for making a change's sake. Not the best idea I've ever heard, but not surprising for the New York Knicks. All right, if you missed any of hour number one, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. 1045 ESPN, BatonRouge.com is where all of our shows are archived each and every day. You can search Hunt Palmer Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever you find your sound. You can always find us, as well as on YouTube. Full shows archived each and every day. Hunt on LSU for your LSU sports. Hunt on Saints for your Saints content. We started the show talking about LSU's baseball team and kind of a selfless approach that Jake Brown and Chase Shores spoke to yesterday. And they're the two guys that should be speaking to it because they're the two guys whose playing time has been compromised relative to their talent level. So I thought that was exciting and also worth mentioning. Brian Kelly met with was on Reese Davis in the Game Day podcast. Talked a lot about LSU football at 1:15. It was What If Wednesday. We've got a ton to do in the second hour. Saints running back is an interesting spot to me. I think it's a spot where you got to see if Alvin Kamara's got a backup. And then after SportsCenter, we'll talk UCLA and Murray State as well. What do those teams look like in LSU's bracket? That's all next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Suns and Kevin Durant's reps have met multiple times over the past week and are sifting through trade scenarios, reports ESPN's Shams Charania. Both sides expected to work together on potential destinations. Rockets, Spurs, Heat, Timberwolves, Knicks among those expressing interest. And one of those is particularly interesting for ESPN NBA analyst and NBA champion Iman Shumpert.
I would like to see him go to the T-Wolves. I think that Anthony Edwards needs some help. And I think that he learns a whole lot from Kevin Durant, from scoring the ball to what he sees at the end. And when he gets a guy like Kevin Durant around, a scoring champion around, then he can sort of understand what he looks at, see where the game comes to him, see where he doesn't have to force, and how he develops a game to play with other superstars.
The Knicks' request to speak to Jason Kidd about their head coaching vacancy denied by the Mavericks. NBA Finals shift to Indiana for Game 3 tonight for the Thunder and Pacers. 7:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Indiana star Tyrese Halliburton dismissing any concerns over that ankle issue. He says he's fine and won't be hampered tonight.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, the U.S. Open tees off, which means day betting, and I'll be all over it. It's Unsportsmanlike every weekday morning at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours. Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half that work week officially in the rear view mirror. I know y'all are excited to be working towards the weekend because it'll be a big one for the Fighting Tiger baseball squad as they get things started 6 o'clock at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha against Arkansas. And right now, all anybody can think about is Arkansas, and that's perfectly fine because that is a big one. And I do agree that the winner between LSU and Arkansas has a great chance to win that bracket. You got a great chance to win that bracket. That means you got a great chance to win the College World Series. And that's a huge game. But there will be more games for LSU, hopefully plural. And one of them will be on Monday. It may be at 1 o'clock. It may be 6 o'clock. And we already know who that opponent is going to be. It's the winner of UCLA and Murray State. So I wanted to take some time to look at those two teams today and kind of tell you what I think about them as a whole and give you a thought on a potential matchup on Monday. Because Friday, I'm going to be all over Arkansas. Saturday, I'm going to be all over Arkansas. And while I'm on the air 2 to 4, we may get the winner of that game because that game is being played at 1 o'clock. So if it's less than 3-hour game, then I'll know who's going to win that game, and we can give a little bit of talk about that. But I want to talk about those teams as a whole right now. And I've written a profile on both of them up at LouisianaSports.net. It's a series I'm calling Bracket Breakdown. Go check it out. The site's brand new today, by the way. If you haven't gone to see it, we switched over providers, and it's a new look. It's got more information. I think it looks better, functions better. We're really excited about it, but it's up there in any event. And I'm going to start with UCLA. This is a team that is in the Big Ten for the first year here. And they have not been back to the College World Series since they won it in 2013. They traveled a ton this year. They went to Corpus Christi, Texas. They played Maryland in College Park all the way across the country. They flew to the Midwest to play in West Lafayette and Champaign, Illinois. They went up to Eugene, which is a pretty long flight too. That was a conference game in the Pac-12, but still it's a longer flight. And they played the Big Ten tournament at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. So this is a team that's pretty well traveled, but they got to play two weekends at home in regional play. They got that based on the fact that they went 22-8 in Big Ten play. They won all but 2 weekends this year. They lost a series to Oregon. They lost a series to crosstown rival USC. They played well in the Big Ten tournament. They got to the final by winning 3 games and then lost 5-0 to Nebraska in the tournament final. They have not been tested in NCAA tournament play. They opened their regional by beating Fresno State 19-4. They beat Arizona State 11-5, and then Irvine came out and played them on Sunday, and they won that game 8-5 as well. UTSA couldn't hit UCLA. They only scored 2 runs in 2 games, and UCLA won that super regional in 2 games at home. Of course, you'll recall UCLA was supposed to play Texas in Austin. UTSA won that regional, so UCLA got to host the Roadrunners. When I look at UCLA and I look at what UCLA does well, it's impressive. Like, they're very good on offense. Rock Chalowski is their shortstop. He had an offer to play quarterback at Notre Dame and might be the best player in the country. He's hitting .367 with 23 home runs and 73 runs driven in. He gets on base at a .494 clip. That's just about half the time. And all of that leads UCLA. But it's not just Chalowski. He's the best player on the team, might be the best player in the tournament. But they've got 5 regulars that hit .313 or better, and they don't strike out very much. Only 22 teams in the country strike out less frequently than UCLA. So, put another way, they're 23rd in the country in fewest strikeouts. Now, they may play LSU or Arkansas on Monday, and LSU and Arkansas are both in the top 5 in the country in pitching strikeouts. So that will be a battle of wills between those staffs if one of them will see UCLA on Monday. So whoever it is, whether it's in the winner's bracket or the loser's bracket, you'll see that. The other thing with UCLA is they're stellar in the field. They fielded a .982 percentage. That's 7th in the country. That ties Oregon State, who's in the field, and it's just behind Arkansas. Arkansas leads the nation in fielding percentage. But that's the positive. They got a great player, a good lineup, and excellent in the field. They've also got a good bullpen. I think they use it maybe a little bit too much, but it's good. No UCLA starter finished the 5th inning in the regional. That's 3 games. Nobody finished the 5th. The bullpen got 49 outs in the regional. The starters got 32. In Game 2 of the Super Regional against UTSA, UCLA had their number 2 starter, Landon Stump, on the mound. He had thrown 4 shutout innings. UCLA was winning 1-0, and they pulled him to go to the bullpen. Like, they're going to go to their bullpen guys early and often. That is what they feel like the strength of this team is. And I'm not sure that I've looked at stats. I watched the highlights from the games, and I'm not sure if that's because John Savage doesn't trust his starters or because he trusts his bullpen implicitly. Either way, you know that the bullpen's coming in early for UCLA. Now listen to this statistic on their starting rotation. Some of this blows my mind, truly. Michael Barnett is their ace. My assumption is he's going to pitch on Saturday afternoon against Murray State. He's 12-1. And when I say UCLA ace 12-1, you're probably thinking like, that's a first-round draft pick. Michael Barnett is allowing opposing hitters to hit .294 on the year. .294 in the Big Ten. He's got a fastball that's 89 miles an hour. He kind of lives on deception, changing speeds, flipping the breaking ball up there, throwing the changeup, trying to sneak the fastball. But like in 2 regional weekends, mind you, UCLA won both games he started. He allowed 12 hits and only had 1 strikeout in 10 1/3. That's just crazy to me. That a guy who is 12-1 for UCLA, and we understand that pitching records can lie, is letting opponents hit .294 for the season and had 1 strikeout in his regional and super regional outings combined. And then you look at the number 2, I mentioned that Stump, Landon Stump, who they pulled after 4 innings of his start in the Super. Those 2 guys combined in their regional starts on regional weekend in LA didn't strike anybody out. No strikeouts against Fresno State and Arizona State. That's bizarre to me. And so the good news for UCLA is their defense is good enough to catch the ball as often as they need to when their 2 starters are out there flailing away and not striking anybody out. But I just don't trust that starting staff to eat enough innings to keep your bullpen rested. Now, if they get in the winner's bracket and stay there, they'll be okay because you play on Saturday, you're off on Sunday, you play on Monday, you're off on Tuesday, you play on Wednesday, and if you win on Wednesday, you're off Thursday and Friday. So you can have enough off days to make that work. But if you get in the loser's bracket and let's say you lose on Saturday, and then you got to play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you play Saturday, like that can be a lot. So it's imperative, I think, for UCLA to either get more out of their starting staff or stay in the winner's bracket. We'll see. They pitched the heck out of it against UTSA. They allowed 2 runs in 2 games. So I'm not saying they're bad at pitching, they're good at pitching. It's just a lot out of the bullpen. And you're maybe wondering as an LSU fan, how much of that is left-handed versus right-handed? Both starters are right-handed, and all the bullpen guys except two that they use are right-handed, and the left-handers are kind of specialists in that role. So I think UCLA is a good team. I worry that they don't walk very much. You need to walk in Omaha, and they're 112th in the country in walking. And that's only better in the field than Coastal, Arizona, and Louisville, and those are all on the other side. The other three teams walk more frequently than UCLA, and that's facing Big Ten arms that probably aren't great. So I think this is a good UCLA team, and I think Chalowski's a superstar, but I'm a little concerned with their starting rotation. Now, you look at Murray State, and I'll be a little bit more concise with the Racers because they're an easier story to tell. They have simply gone ablaze with their bats. You're talking about a team that over an 11-game run has hit .336 with 20 home runs and 32 doubles. Again, 11 games, .336, 20 homers, 32 doubles. And that's 3 games against Ole Miss, 1 against Georgia Tech, and 2 against Duke. That's a lot of work getting done against SEC and ACC competition. 7 of their 9 everyday players are hitting .286 or better in the postseason. Dustin Mercer is hitting .500, 25 for 50. Jonathan Hogart has got 8 home runs in 11 postseason games. This is not what they were all season. They were a team that entering the regional was hitting .276 as a team, and they've just gone ablaze. But listen to Murray State's starting pitching. 3 Racers have combined to start all 11 games of this postseason. So they played 11 games, and 3 guys have started all 11 of them as a starting staff. Kane Elmy, in those 3 starts, 6.17 ERA. Nick Schutt, 3 starts, 9 ERA. Isaac Silva, 5 starts, 9.82 ERA. Now, if you're looking for LSU and when they would see Murray State potentially on Monday, you probably would see Isaac Silva. He's been their second starter in the season, in the conference tournament, in the regional, and the super regional. Isaac Silva has been their number 2 starter. LSU lines up for that. Winners bracket, losers bracket. If you see Murray State, either way on Monday, Silva's probably the guy you'll see. His ERA in the postseason is 9.82. 9.82. He started on Saturday, the regional against Georgia Tech, came back and started in the final against Ole Miss. In those 2 outings in Oxford, 8 1/3 innings, 9 earned runs on 7 hits. He walked 6 and struck out 9. Ole Miss hit 2 homers off of him, and then Duke smoked him on Sunday. 6 earned runs on 6 hits, 3 home runs in 5 1/3 innings. He's a right-hander, 3/4 arm slot, throws 91. Like, there's not much to it. Murray State's hitting like crazy. And they may keep doing it, or they may revert back to what they were for the better part of 14 weeks. But even in this run where Murray State is beating Ole Miss and beating Duke and getting to Omaha, the 3 guys that they start in games are getting bludgeoned. Now, the one thing about Murray State on the mound is their closer has been nails for them. And I don't know how much is left in his right arm, but he's been awesome. His name's Graham Kellum, and in 6 of the 11 postseason games, he's been called on. He's worked 16 innings. The ERA in those 16 innings is 2.81, 26 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Opponents hit .203 against him, and he's had 4 saves in the postseason. But he's thrown 203 pitches over the last 2 weeks in intermittent spurts. 9 pitches, then comes back Sunday, 34 pitches on Sunday, 70 the next day. In the Super Regional, 43 on Sunday, 47 on Monday. No rest. So he's the guy they want to get it to. He's the only pitcher they've got that's having success getting people out. And I don't know if he's going to be fresh and ready to go in Omaha or if he's going to be whipped. But Murray State is kind of a one-trick pony at this point. Can they score 11 runs on you? Because you're going to score on their pitching. So these two teams will match up on Saturday. I strongly suggest that UCLA will win that game. I don't believe Murray State's going to win any games in Omaha, but they can because they can hit. And if their closer's ready to go and he's going to go 4 innings, you better hope that it's not against you because everybody else you can swing the bats against. So that's a general breakdown of UCLA and Murray State. We'll watch that game at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and then we'll learn LSU's fate just a few hours later as LSU and Arkansas play the nightcap at 6 o'clock. But if you'd like to read in long form on the website for free about Murray State and UCLA, you can check that out at louisianasports.net. Tomorrow, before I go to the airport at like 4:30 a.m., I'm going to post the preview of Arkansas, kind of my thoughts on that, and I'll wrap it up with LSU tomorrow afternoon. And then you'll get my dispatches from Omaha on Friday and certainly Saturday, getting you ready for the game specifically. But I wanted to get that out of the way here on this Wednesday. Moving forward, it's going to be a lot of LSU and Arkansas conversation on this show and most of the shows that you're going to hear. I thought it was worthwhile to go to the other two teams in the bracket. Step aside. Come back with more. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Contact Joey Blanchard. Tell him the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there if you're looking to get into that outdoor kitchen pool setup. It's hot in Louisiana most of the year. You can get in that pool from March into October. So look, if you want to get into that pool, the process, depending on weather and your design, obviously, can be 6 to 8 weeks. Just depends on how quickly you want to start and what that project entails. But you're not going to know until you have the consultation with Joey, who's the owner of the company, by the way. He'll sit down with you, look at the software, put that design to customize to exactly what your specifications are. No matter if you want it for your family, for the kids, as a cocktail pool, whatever the case may be, he can make it happen. Like he's done for dozens and dozens and dozens of residents around the Baton Rouge area. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can find them online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. The Saints continue their work in mandatory minicamp. The best news, really, from yesterday was not anything that happened on the field. You know, we love to overreact to the first practice and that type of thing. But the best thing is that the Saints had perfect attendance, and that's awesome. The Tyrann Mathieu was out there. Chris Olave was working out. Taysom Hill made an appearance, although he's not anywhere close to being able to participate. The attendance was perfect, and that's the most important thing. But as I start to go through the roster, look at where there may be some question marks, where some guys are going to have to step up, I think one of the spots that jumps out to me is running back. The Saints made the decision to bring Alvin Kamara back on a 2-year deal. I didn't love the deal, but it has nothing to do with Alvin Kamara. I just didn't like it relative to the Saints' salary cap situation, the age of their roster, and the size of the contract at that position. Kamara has been nothing but a pro every step of the way. He did not hold out. He went to practice. He did not sit out games. He went and played. He played hurt while he was in the middle of a contract negotiation, and then got what he wanted. Signed on the dotted line and wants to finish his career as a New Orleans Saint. We'll see if that happens or if it doesn't, but he's here for the next 2 years. And last year, Alvin Kamara took on his heaviest workload ever. And it showed because the Saints were not very good up front blocking for the run. He was getting bludgeoned most weeks. You had young quarterbacks who were anxious to check the ball down and get rid of it, and he took the brunt of all that. And he never complained, and he never sat, and he just went out there and played. And now that contract situation is behind him, it's all about being the best player he can be. And I'm confident that Alvin Kamara will be a good player next year. But I'm also confident that Alvin Kamara can't do this by himself. You need to find the Mark Ingram. You need to find the guy that can take some of that workload between the tackles off of him, maybe help on some third downs, and drop this workload of Alvin Kamara's from an 11 out of 10 down to a 7. He can still be the bell cow back. He hasn't shown that he can't do that. But somebody's got to help. So the question is, who is that? Your first option is clearly Kendre Miller, and we have talked about him ad nauseum, but he's still very much in the conversation. And he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to show what he can do. I don't even have a good sense for what Kendre Miller can do because he rarely practices and he rarely plays. I can see a flash here and there. Big run, good catch, nice YouTube videos from practice. But there's not enough meat on the bone of him in games to make a real generalization about what he can be. So you bring in competition for him, obviously, because you don't know. If you knew, you wouldn't have to bring in competition. You don't know. And so you go draft Devin Neal, who I think that the majority of folks, whether you're a draft analyst, Saints fan, whoever, think that's a really good pick. That's a uber productive power conference back that has shown in his skill set that he can be a between the tackles runner, a threat out of the backfield. He can make plays in space. He can carry a heavy workload. Like, the only thing you don't love about Devin Neal, he's not a massive guy, and he has been used a ton. When you're the all-time leader in the history of a program, which he is for Kansas in terms of career rushing yards, like, you've taken hits and you've lost a little bit of tread on those tires. But Derrick Henry got a lot of carries in Tuscaloosa, and he's fine. Now, Derrick Henry's kind of a freak, but you get the point. Like, there are plenty of running backs that have taken a lot of workload at the college level and have translated to being really good pro backs. So I think that Neal is going to compete. I think he's got a real chance to make that team and to eat into Kendre Miller's playing time. And the Saints brought in Cam Akers, who folks in this neck of the woods that pay attention to college football are really familiar with. Cam Akers is a guy that LSU recruited very heavily, but he ended up at Florida State, and he had a really good career at Florida State. And he went on to the Rams and has been a very, very productive back for the Rams, Vikings, and the Texans. You're talking about a guy who right now stands at 2,000 rushing yards. He's never been like an 1,000-yard back, but he's been available to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's been available to be a second option out of the backfield. And, like, I think a guy that has been in the league for 5 years, has 26 years old, has a real chance to help you. Not as your number one back, but as a guy who spells Alvin Kamara. And that's all I'm talking about here. I need 6 carries, 2 catches every week so that Kamara doesn't have to do everything. And Cam Akers is a pro. He's got good size. He's still got good speed at 26 years old. And I'm not telling you he's going to make the team or that he's my favorite option. My favorite option is probably Kendre Miller, but I don't know if I can trust that. And I like Devin Neal as a draft pick, but I think that bringing in Cam Akers on a cheap deal as a veteran is fine. This is something we talk about with every single prospective player the Saints look to add. You sign 25-year-old Cam Akers to a 4-year contract, what the Saints obviously would never do, but we're just having hypotheticals here. You sign him to a 4-year deal, that's ludicrous. 1 year, few million with the money you've got sitting around? Sure. I'm good with that. If he becomes a guy that makes the team and takes the lion's share of the carries away from Devin Neal and Kendre Miller, well, then you've got an issue with those two guys. I think the point of bringing Cam Akers in and having him on the team and with the squad in training camp is to have an insurance policy if the 2 guys you drafted don't work out. Ideally, Cam Akers is a non-factor on the team. Ideally, one of the other 2 guys who are younger, cheaper, and guys that you brought in the draft are your options. Like, those 2 guys should be. But you need insurance, especially at that position where guys get dinged up and get hurt. So, again, another ad that I'm perfectly fine with, another guy that I think could make the team. It's just one of those deals where I'm hoping it goes another direction. I'm hoping Devin Neal is the guy. I'm hoping Kendre Miller is the guy. And we know that Alvin Kamara is going to be who he is. We'll continue to monitor it throughout minicamp. Right now, they're just going through 7-on-7 stuff, a lot of checkdowns, not any contact. You're not going to draw a ton of information from it. But if you're just looking at the numbers and the potential production from the Saints running backs, somebody's got to step forward. We'll see. If you're looking for our Saints content, find it, Hunt on Saints on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt on Saints. You can find it there. Ross Jackson doing an awesome job with LouisianaSports.net of running the Saints down during mandatory minicamp, and he's got a couple pieces already up today on the site, so go check all of that out. We got 30 minutes left to go. Come back with us on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks age. If you've got a loved one in your life and you're thinking, bathroom could be a hazardous spot, you understand you can't completely take that risk away, but you can mitigate against it. Non-slip floors, walk-in tubs, showers with benches on them, handrails on slippery areas. All those could be the difference between a nasty fall and not. David Duvall and his team do this all the time. So reach out, say, hey, I heard about you on Hunt's show. I'd like to talk about potentially mitigating against some issues in the bathroom. David Duvall and his team, happy to help you with it. Go check out the pictures of their fantastic work at onebathandclosets.com. You'll see those pictures. You can see testimonials from their satisfied clients and get that free consultation. Financing is available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, about 25 minutes left to go here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Let's talk a little LSU football here. Been a little bit of news. Not a lot of news. A little bit of news, okay? The SEC has kind of announced kickoff times for the SEC football schedule to come in the fall of 2025. We already knew LSU's first 4 game times. The game at Clemson, this is all central, is at 6:30. The home opener against Louisiana Tech is at 6:30. The game against Florida at home is at 6:30. And the game against Southeastern Louisiana on the SEC Network is at 6:45. We already knew what the first month looked like. So now we get a look at what the rest of the schedule might look like. Just a lot of flexes, mind you. The game against Ole Miss is going to be a pretty big one. September the 27th in Oxford. That's flexed. We don't know when it's going to be. The game against South Carolina in Tiger Stadium. Big one there. Lenora Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier. It's going to be one that a lot of folks have eyes on. October the 11th. Flexed. We don't know when it's going to be. LSU's going to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. It's a trip a lot of folks want to make. It's a great trip to go on. You've got great bars and restaurants, great city. You're going to get good tickets because there are no bad tickets in Vanderbilt Stadium, and usually you win. You'll just have to get out there pretty early because that's going to be an early kickoff. Now, I don't know what early means. It's 11 a.m. to noon, so it's going to be the 11 a.m. kickoff probably in Nashville for LSU and Vanderbilt. I'll tell you this. As a post-game show host, I like that. That gets me off my duty at about 5 p.m. I realize that y'all hate those for home games. For away games, especially in Nashville, could be worse. You could go to the game early, maybe go to a bar or restaurant afterwards. So early game for LSU at Vanderbilt. Texas A&M in Tiger Stadium. Big one. October 25th, right in front of the bye week. Flexed. We don't know what that's going to be. Could be 2:30 to 3:30. Could be 5 to 7. We don't know if it's early or late. Alabama on the road, Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's going to be a night game. That thing is going to be between 5 and 7. I'm sure it'll be a 7 o'clock primetime kickoff from Tuscaloosa. Home game against Arkansas. Bad news for you here. Home game against the Hogs. Going to be an early kickoff. Probably 11 o'clock, maybe noon. So LSU will not have all night games this year. There will be one that is early. That is against Arkansas on the 15th of November. Could be phenomenal weather, though. We'll see. And then Western Kentucky, the final non-conference game. That'll be a night kickoff between LSU and Western Kentucky. Season finale at Oklahoma. That's going to be a flex. Could be in the afternoon. Could be at night. Not going to be early. So that's what you're looking at. If you're talking about home games in Baton Rouge this coming fall, want to get your tailgating plans ready to roll. You're talking about Louisiana Tech at night, Florida at night, Southeastern at night. And then those are the only guarantees. Western Kentucky at night. So 4 of your home games guaranteed at night. South Carolina is flexed. Texas A&M is flexed. And Arkansas is early. So your variables there are the 2:30 kickoff or the night kickoff between LSU and Texas A&M and LSU and South Carolina. And that makes a lot of sense because, you know what some of these teams are likely to be. Vanderbilt's likely to not be very good. You put that one early. Alabama, likely to be good. You put that one at night. Arkansas, likely to be terrible. You put that one early. Oklahoma, not sure. South Carolina, not sure. Texas A&M, not sure. They're all flexed. I figure LSU and Ole Miss will both be in good shape on September the 27th. Certainly LSU does have 2 tough games at Clemson and then home against Florida before that, but that's probably going to be a pretty big game, and that one is flexed, so we'll see. But I guess the thought is if LSU's lost 2 games or if Ole Miss stumbles out of the gate with a new quarterback, that maybe that's a spot where you'd like to move that game a little bit earlier. We'll see. I don't have a great feel for how the ESPN and the SEC want to handle their workload at this point. We knew for a long time that CBS is going to pick, and then boom, you're going to see the night game on ESPN that's prime time. So those are the first 2 that come off. Might have a big one at noon. You're going to have your crappy non-conference games. Whatever gets stuck on the SEC network is going to not be very good, but that's going to be a night game. So we kind of knew how that pecking order was going to work. I think there are more variables when the network has everything at one time and there are additional games. So you're not fighting over games. Like CBS is fighting ESPN for games. ESPN's just calling all these shots. So I think this makes a lot of sense. I know that LSU fans are not going to like the Arkansas game being early, but you don't play a lot of those. If I don't know how many of you are active in the Twitter world and online and seeing, but most of the conference gets cranky because LSU gets so many night games. I know that they get cranky about that at Arkansas. They get cranky about that at Georgia as well. There was a coach that made a comment about LSU. I'm sure they got to play at night. Oh, it was Kiffin last year. Kiffin got cranky because LSU and Ole Miss were the night game at home, and then Ole Miss played Georgia, and it was in the afternoon, and he didn't like that. Surprise, surprise. Kiffin was the one that was popping off. Had to bring that back into my memory bank because this just came out, so I didn't have time to prep that segment. But every once in a while, they are going to stick you in an early morning kickoff, and it's going to be one of the games. I guess Arkansas is one that makes a little bit of sense. I actually think if you're making the trip to Vanderbilt, that early kickoff is not bad, especially if it's noon. You can go out on Friday night, have yourself a good old time, get up, get out there, go see a game that you hope is out of reach in the third, fourth quarter, and then you're out of there at 3 o'clock, and you can go see Nashville. Go to the Country Music Hall of Fame, go out to Broadway and check out the bars, go home. You can do that too. So I think that's a decent little compromise there for if you hate morning games. That's maybe one that you might enjoy being a little bit earlier. So still like a lot to be determined when those games are going to be played as far as the flexes go. But football trying to stay a little bit relevant, trying to stay in the news cycle, trying to keep you engaged in football, as most teams now are done for the athletic calendar. LSU is not. Got to go to Omaha, but there's only 2 teams in the league going to Omaha, LSU and Arkansas. Everybody else is on to football. So we'll be there soon enough, but not quite yet. Got a little bit of baseball to take care of in the next week and a half. We got one more segment to take care of here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Come back with us for a little take it or leave it, and that'll be it.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Oh, I did the wrong live, didn't I, last time? No one told me in the break. So let's talk about Genesis.
Didn't even notice, honestly.
GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. I was looking going, that doesn't look right. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's a luxury experience at a reasonable price. That's the Genesis model. Most of you that are listening to me have not gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis because it's new. But put them on your list. Whether it's a sedan all the way up to the SUV, no matter what your situation is, they can handle it. And they'll have a phenomenal vehicle for you. And the best part is that it's going to be one of the safest cars on the road. Every single model in the line, all of them, are given the IHA top safety picks. Some of them were top safety picks plus. And every single one comes with the same baseline safety features. They don't cut corners at Genesis. So if you're looking for a great vehicle, a luxury vehicle at a reasonable price, it's going to be one of the safest cars on the road. It comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and 3 years of complimentary maintenance. Genesis of Baton Rouge is where you need to be. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Your Fighting Tigers of LSU are back in the College World Series, and we've got all our eyes on Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, starting with a special edition of the Hunt Palmer Show this Friday from 1 to 3. Then Saturday afternoon, Hunt will set the scene for the Tigers and Arkansas Razorbacks from 2 to 4 p.m. Our coverage is also presented by GoFlow IV Spa. Watch every broadcast live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Go Tigers from Our Lady of the Lake, GoFlow IV Spa, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm getting very excited, as you might imagine. I'm hopeful that I go to Omaha a bunch of times in the coming years. It's a place that I've been 3 times. Did the old Rosenblatt in 2009 for the first 2 games of that College World Series. Was there in 2013 when LSU went 2-0, and then obviously 2 years ago was fortunate to go up with my dad for the championship series and see one of the coolest things these 2 eyes have ever seen. The cool thing about it is when LSU goes, there's such a groundswell from the fan base, whether it's going for your 14th time, which I'm certain some people will do, going for the first time, which I'm also certain some people will do. I just got a text 45 minutes ago from a buddy that said that he's going for the first time ever. Can't wait, wanted some do's and don'ts, which I did supply him with. And I've got another buddy that was telling me yesterday, or was texting yesterday, where are we going to play golf? Which I don't think I have time to go play golf while I'm up there. I got a lot going on, but it's just a cool thing that LSU fans throw their arms around it every single time that the Tigers go. Even sometimes when the Tigers don't go, LSU sends a ton of people up there. So I'm anticipating a lot of purple and gold for the game on Saturday. I'm also anticipating a ton of red in the game on Saturday, and I think it's just going to be a classic between 2 of the great programs in the sport with a lot to play for on Saturday. So like Beck just said, I'll be traveling tomorrow, and I'll be back on the show on Friday from the Ameristar, 1 to 3. If you're in the area, staying at the hotel, or want to come over and say hey while you're killing some time on Friday, I would love to see you in the sportsbook. It's an ESPN sportsbook. I'll be right there doing the show. I'll have it all set up, maybe, if I can get it figured out. And we'll have 2 great hours for you, and then 2 more great hours from 2 to 4 on Saturday as we do a pregame show leading into LSU and Arkansas. That first pitch is set for 6. Airtime on the network will be at 5:30. I'm going to go from 2 to 4, then pack everything up, put it up in the room, and then go to the stadium and be able to get there for first pitch so I can cover it for LouisianaSports.net. But we've got you covered. As long as LSU's there, I'm going to be there. My flight home is currently booked for the Tuesday after the championship series. I would love to get on that flight. That means LSU had a heck of a run. But we'll be there as long as they're there, and very, very much excited to do it. So tomorrow, Anthony Renato will be in for me. He'll have a ton of great guests. He'll talk a lot of great baseball. And I'll be locked and loaded, ready to go on Friday. But for now, while we're still in Baton Rouge, one more order of business is take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it.
Light by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Your go-to for your baseball Saturdays, football Saturdays coming up. It's light on calories, full on flavor, so you do not have to trade taste for stats. Look, it's built for Louisiana weekends. Grilling, boiling, fishing, playing golf, watching the game. Light by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Alrighty, first one here, the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant, along with his business partner, Rich Kleiman, have met multiple times over the past week and are sifting through trade scenarios, sources told ESPN on Wednesday, according to Shams, of course. Teams interested, the Rockets, Spurs, Heat, Timberwolves, and Knicks. KD in New York, take it or leave it.
Leave it. I'm leaving everything. Like, I just don't understand this career. It's so fascinating to me where a guy just doesn't care where he plays, wants to move every year. I mean, I realize he's been in Phoenix for a couple of years, but like he's a ping pong ball around the NBA, and he can still get buckets, and he'll be a Hall of Famer, and I don't know what team he'll represent when he does that. I guess maybe Golden State where he won titles, but like it's just there's something to be said for attaching yourself to a community in any capacity whatsoever, and KD has just never done that in any way, shape, or form. It's not a requirement, but it's a nice story.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, this is how the NBA is now, and how it's been for probably the last at least 5 or 6 years. But KD is definitely going to be one of the greatest players to play for more than 5 teams. I mean, it's just crazy that he has played for so many teams.
I mean, Shaq did it, but he spent his whole career essentially in 3 places: Orlando, Lakers, Miami. The whole deal where he goes to Phoenix and the Celtics and all that, but whatever.
Yeah, so, but it's still, most of that stuff with Shaq was towards the end of his career. With KD, he's still
he was hopping every year, it seemed like.
Yeah, it's really shocking, but that's just the NBA that we are in today. All right, last one here. Tiger Woods was asked about the U.S. Open starting tomorrow at Oakmont. He said, quote, "There is no faking about Oakmont. The golf course is big, but it's just there's no way around it. You just have to hit the golf ball well, and it favors the longer hitters just because of the degrees, the complexes. It helps so much to be coming with shorter irons in. It's about missing the ball in correct spots, because if you don't, it is horrible." You agree with Tiger. It'll be about long drives and short irons. Take it or leave it.
I'll take that.
I'll take it.
It's almost always about that. Now, if you can't get in the hole from 6 feet, then you're not going to do anything. That's the last piece to the puzzle. Driving, iron play, putting, pretty important stuff. But I think the long hitters are going to do it. You can't be one of the shorter hitters and survive, because you're not going to hit enough fairways and you're not going to be able to survive. So I think that it's going to be a longer hitter. I don't think Rory's going to win it. I think you're looking at Bryson. I think you're looking at Scotty, and then maybe another couple
I think
of guys.
Xander Schauffele has always played well in the U.S. Open.
He can hit it far enough to deal with it. He got that speed in the last couple of years, but I don't think it's going to be like a Matthew Fitzpatrick type that kind of shows up and wins. Like, it'll be an established horse. It's not going to be a Wyndham Clark that shows up and wins it. It's going to be an established horse, and I would struggle not to take Bryson or Scotty.
Yeah, the U.S. Open has. They've had a bit of a problem in the last 3 or 4 years with the scores have been, relative to U.S. Opens, the scores have been a lot lower than you would expect in the U.S. Open. Like you said, you've had guys like Wyndham Clark and Matt Fitzpatrick win. In years past, you would usually see, as it's usually called, the toughest test in golf, and it usually weeds out those guys that aren't at the top of their game and aren't the best players in the world. So hopefully this is a return to form for the U.S. Open. I don't expect that the scores will be as low as some people expect, because the last time they played
as high or as low?
I think they're going to be lower than people think.
Okay.
I think a lot of people expect that the winning score is going to be like 2 or 3 over. I think it's going to be under par, because the last time this tournament was played here was 2016, and Dustin Johnson won it at 4 under. That was 9 years ago, and I won't say that the equipment has changed a lot, but it's evolved a lot more. These guys are a lot better. There's a lot more guys, I think, that could win it.
What do you think about Oakmont telling Gil Hanse, who did the redesign of some of the greens, do not make it any easier? That's like a badge of honor they wear. They have like one of the 2 or 3 hardest golf courses in the world, in the country.
Do
you like that? Would you be a member there?
I don't think so, because it's just like you're just wanting to go out and just hurt yourself every day with how just incredibly difficult it is. Like
they don't grow the rough up like that whenever they don't have the U.S. Open.
No, they don't. But I heard that they actually run the greens faster.
They run the greens fast
off of the tournament.
Not that I've ever played Omaha.
Which is insane to me. But I don't know. I would not want to play there. I'd want to play somewhere where it's a challenge, but it's not like just the most ridiculous challenge.
How's your confidence that I'll be on the air loud and clear at 1 o'clock on Friday?
It's a decent bit high because I know that you're going to get started early with trying to get it set up. So I feel pretty good about it.
I'll be the only one there. Nobody there to help.
Yeah.
Bo's going to have to be on FaceTime, and we're going to try to figure it out. For those that are curious about Friday's show, I've never set up one piece of radio equipment in my entire life. I've been on the air in some capacity about 14 years. I've never touched the equipment. That changes on Friday when I have to set the entire show up by myself. So wish me the best of luck.
Good luck.
I have no issues with traveling. It's all about trying to get the radio show set up for Friday. All right. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Y'all enjoy Anthony tomorrow, and I will be back same time, different place from Omaha on Friday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.